So I know I talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Commander deck last week, and I just never got around to it. It actually is slightly different packaging than some of the other Commander decks. It actually looks like the um, way you open it is, from the side, which um, some of the other containers sometimes open from the bottom and get narrow at the top. Um, so it just seemed different. The security thing came with a little guide pamphlet type thing that has a cool little arcadey um, pictures thing, almost like a mini poster. Of course, a deck box with, again, the kind of very pixelated, cartoonish picture. This casing is a little bit different than what I'm used to, like I said. Oh, there's um, Splinter on the back. So the main suggested commander is Leonardo the Balance, which it's a 3/3 legendary creature, a mutant ninja turtle for 3 in a plains, which normally wouldn't work in a 5 color deck, but the it does have W Berg in the rule text, so I guess it works out. Whenever a token you control enters, you may put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn. And then you can pay white, blue, red, or sorry, white, blue, black, red, green. Creatures you control gain menace, trample, and lifelink until end of turn. So, I mean, that's, yes, it's one of every color, but to give all your creatures, those 3 keywords is pretty awesome. And the fact that, I mean, you're putting a 1/1 counter on each creature you control once a turn. If a token enters the battlefield, that tells me it's set up for a token deck, which 1/1 counters on tokens and then giving them keywords. That's pretty awesome. Next, oh, and it has a partner character select. The reminder text is you can have 2 commanders if both have this ability. Donatello the Brains. It's a 2/4 legendary creature, a mutant ninja turtle for 2 in a island. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a mutagen token are created instead. And it has partner character select. The reminder text says you may have 2 commanders if both have this ability. Then we have Splinter the Mentor, which is a 2/2 legendary creature, a mutant ninja rat for 1 in a swamp. He has Menace. Whenever Splinter or another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, create a mutagen token. He has a partner ability, character select. You can have two commanders that both have this ability. Raphael, the muscles. He's a 4/4 legendary creature, a mutant ninja turtle for 4 and a mound. Yeah, double all damage that creatures you control with counters on them would deal. When Raphael enters, create a mutagen token. And partner, character select. You may have two commanders that both have this ability. Michelangelo, the Heart. He's a 2/1 legendary creature, a mutant ninja turtle for 1 in the forest. He has trample, raid, and then in parentheses it says the fridge, which is kind of ironic but also very true to the TV series and movies. At the beginning of your second main phase, if you attack this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature and create a food token. Partner, create character select. You can choose. You can have two commanders that both have this ability. Heroes in a half shell. It's a 5/5 legendary creature, a mutant ninja turtle for a white, a blue, a black, a red, and a green. So this could also be your commander if you chose not to use Leonardo the Balance. And it's kind of cool that all of these Ninja Turtle cards, in addition to Splinter, have all been foil so far, and I really wasn't paying attention to the Ninja Turtle ones, but this one is a full art, so full art in addition to the foil treatment for the Ninja Turtle cards. That's pretty sweet. But anyway, Heroes in a like I said, Heroes in a Half Shell is a 5/5 legendary creature, mutant ninja turtle for 1 of every color. Has vigilance, menace, trample, haste. Whenever one or more mutants, ninjas, and or turtles you control deal combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on each of those creatures and draw a card. I mean, that's pretty strong right there, but usually something that costs 1 of everything is going to be fairly strong. Putting 1/1 counters on, you know, each creature type, each of those creature types if it attacks, and allowing you, attacks and deals damage to a player. And getting card draw off that too. I mean, I feel like with how this deck is going to be put together with tokens and stuff getting buffed, that's not going to be that hard to have a couple of ninjas or, mutants or something deal some damage. Continue? Like, there's a question mark at the end of that, so continue? It's an instant for 1 in a plains. Choose up to 4 target creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield. So, I mean, although it's not specifically saying return the Ninja Turtles to the battlefield, it almost seems like a nod to that. Like, oh, this is an arcade game, it's asking if you'd like to insert a quarter to continue, and then, oh, you get all four of the Ninja Turtles back. Like, it's not specifically that, but it just seems like a nod to that. Endless Foot Assault. It's an enchantment for two in the plains. Squad, one in the plains. In parentheses, the real reminder says, as additional cost to cast this spell, you may pay one in planes any number of times. When this enchantment enters, create that many tokens that are copies of it. So that's cool. It's almost like Kicker, but it's called something else. Like it's almost a new mechanic because they just revamped it for this set, I guess. Whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. So that's pretty strong because you're getting 1/1 counters that are tapped and attacking a player. And then if you played Squad however many times, which is basically just Kicker, you get multiple copies of the enchantment from the way I'm reading it, which then means you're getting multiple 1/1s, one for each each of the enchantments slash copies of the enchantment. April O'Neil live on the scene. She's a 2/1 legendary creature, a human detective for one in the island, which, I mean, detective, I guess it makes sense, but usually she's a reporter, not a like police officer that's a detective, but that's neither here nor there, I guess, concerning um, non-humanoids are sometimes detectives in magic. Whenever a mutant, ninja, or turtle you control enters, investigate. The reminder text says, create a clue token. It's an artifact with pay 2, sacrifice this token, draw a card. It has a partner character select ability, although this one doesn't remind you like the um, Ninja Turtle ones did about, being able to have two commanders that both have that ability. Baxter, Fly in the Ointment. He's a 2/2 legendary creature, an insect mutant scientist for 3 in an island. Whenever Baxter enters or attacks, each creature you control with a counter on it gains flying until end of turn. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Baxter. I mean, so that seems very fun because you're giving your creatures with counters flying. There's obviously stuff that puts counters on your creatures. So, you're making all your guys potentially more evasive. And then, every time you're drawing, this guy gets a 1/1 counter too. Here comes a new hero. It's a sorcery for X, 2, and an island. Target player draws X cards. Create a token that's a copy of up to one target creature with mana value X or less. So I like the draw ability, although it's interesting that you can choose a target player. So very niche situation. If you've milled your opponent down to say 3 cards, you could choose X to be 4. Oh, you as my opponent, you're at 3 cards. You're gonna draw 4 cards. Oh, you can't draw the 4th card because no cards in the library. You lose a game. Like that, like very niche. That could be beneficial to make your opponent draw. But you're also getting the ability to make a token copy of a creature with mana X or less. So the bigger the number for X, the potentially more fun the token copy might be. And I don't know if there's going to be anything for multiplying your tokens, so to speak. I don't remember if it was populate or what it was, but there was something in Ravnica that when you do a certain action, it could trigger making another like copy of a token. So if you had a 3/3 centaur, you could be like, oh, do this, populate. Oh, I get a second 3/3 centaur. If I already had the centaur on the battlefield. I don't know if that will be in here, but that would be certainly interesting to see if you are making a copy of a creature and then copying those tokens. That would be interesting. Irma, part-time mutant. She's a 1/1 legendary creature, a human mutant shapeshifter for 2 and an island. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Irma becomes a copy of up to 1 other target creature you control, except her name is Irma, part-time mutant, and she has this ability. Then put a 1/1 counter on her. So again, this time it's a creature that's becoming a copy of another creature, but still kind of interesting. Just the whole copying creatures mechanic in here. Krang, the all-powerful, is a 3/3 legendary artifact creature. Uh, Trom. That's kind of odd. That's Ultron instead of Ultron, but whatever. Ultron robot for 4 and an island. If a player drawing a card causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Krang. So that's kind of interesting to, have this guy buffing himself when your opponents are drawing cards, given it has to be the second card each turn. Ray Fillet, Wave Warrior. It's a 0/2 legendary creature, a fish mutant for 2 and an island. Has flying and evolve. The reminder text says, whenever a creature you control enters, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Whenever a creature you control with a counter on it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So that's pretty cool because I remember the evolve mechanic from back in around Ravnica. I don't remember for sure if it was the original Ravnica or one of the sets around there. And getting draw ability in addition to this guy pumping every time he played, bigger creatures. Bebop, Skull and Crossbones. kind of interesting that they designed him to look kind of like a pirate almost. He's a 2-1 legendary creature, a board mutant for 1 in a swamp. Partner with Rocksteady, which just makes sense. You know, Bebop and Rocksteady were a duo in, you know, the series and movies and everything, so it just, like, make it partner, but very specific and limited to those two. And the reminder text says when this creature enters, target player may put Rockstay into their hand from their library, then shuffle. Yeah, it's Death Touch. Whenever Bebop deals combat damage to a player, you may draw X cards where X is the number of counters on Bebop. If you do, you lose X life. So that seems like a drawback. You know, you're drawing X cards, but then you're losing X life. Which I get life's a resource, but at a certain point, the card advantage may or may not be worth that loss of life. Dimension X Pizza Soar. It's kind of interesting that they made a creature that was supposed to be made out of pizza. I don't specifically remember this in any of the TV shows or movies, but doesn't mean it wasn't in there. I just don't recall it. It's a 2-1 artifact creature, a food alien mutant for 3 in a swamp. Whenever this creature enters, put 2/1/1 counters on target creature. When you do, destroy up to 1 target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of counters among permanents you control. You can pay 2, tap this guy, sacrifice this creature. You gain 3 life and each opponent loses 3 life. Foot chopper. So instead of a foot soldier, it's a foot chopper. Foot soldier was a personal helicopter unit, I guess. It's an artifact equipment for 1 in a swamp. Whenever this equipment enters, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token. Then attach this equipment to it, which feels like the job select from a previous set. Is just they didn't specifically call it job select on this card. Equipped creature has flying. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, draw a card equal to its power. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about sacrificing a creature. I mean, I guess you could put on an opponent's creature and give it flying, and then if they use it, they would have to potentially sacrifice it. But that, even that, I could go either way because then you're, you know, giving your opponent help by giving one of their creatures flying at the drawback of potentially sacrificing it. The equip cost is 2. Game over. So kind of feels like another nod to the arcade games. It's a sorcery for 3 and 2 swamps. The spell costs 2 less to cast if a player's life total is less than or equal to half their starting life. Destroy all creatures. So it's a board wipe that is potentially cheaper if someone's life is half or less their starting life. Rat King Pale Piper. It's a 3/3 legendary creature, a rat avatar for 3 in a swamp. Has menace whenever Rat King or another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 black rat token. You can pay 2, sacrifice a token, draw a card. So, I mean, it's making creature tokens. You can pay mana to sacrifice a token to get card draw. So, it kind of does what it needs to do to get you card draw and or have, um, you know, small chump blockers. Shredder, Shadow Master. He's a 5/5 legendary creature, a human ninja for 3 and 2 swamps. Whenever Shredder attacks a player, for each other opponent, create a token that's a copy of Shredder, tapped and attacking that player. Except it isn't legendary. Sacrifice those tokens at end of combat. Whenever Shredder deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. And where I've seen some, you know, cards that give tokens various keywords, having a um, token that's tapped and attacking um, each of your opponents, and then giving it something like double strike and death touch or whatever, because it's attacking like that. That just seems pretty awesome, and obviously, you know, something that's gonna when it deals damage to a player, that player loses half their life. Your opponent's gonna want to block to avoid losing half their life, but then they're potentially having the token kill their creature they're blocking with, so it's a which is the less of two evils for your opponent. Swift Demise. It's an instant for 2 in a swamp. Swift Demise deals 1 damage to target creature. Then destroy each creature you don't control that was dealt damage this turn. So, where I'm starting to get to some of the right cards, I feel like this is a good stopping point. I'll come back to it where there's a lot of cards in this deck, and I want to give this a fair analysis and not have it be a 5-hour video. So hopefully you found some value in this, and check back over the next week, at latest next weekend, but hopefully sometime during the week. Thanks and have a good day.